Happy lunch hour, guys. Yeah, it sucks to be right. And no, I'm not saying me. I'm not that arrogant. I'm saying preppers in general. It sucks to be right. Y'all are probably very similar to me in one respect. You have all this stuff saved, stored, everything. And you hope you never have to use any of it. I know it sounds crazy, but we buy ammunition. You hope to God you never have to use it in response to anything. You buy solar generators. You hope to God you never have to use it because we don't have any power. Okay. But you have it. And considering what's going on right now, it's a damn good thing you do. Okay. This week, the World Health Organization, I know everybody comments on it, all right, but you still got to pay attention to what's said because there are some good nuggets of information in there. They came out on Wednesday and they warned that millions of people in East Africa are going to face starvation this year. Okay? Not a big surprise to anybody. We've heard this for months. The issue is most of us in the Western world, okay, don't care. Because as a lot of you guys have said, you know, every time I do a video or anybody does a video and shows empty stores or talks about it, you know, my grocery store's full. There's plenty of food. Keep the blinders on, okay? You're totally fine there, okay? If you want to believe that, keep believing that, okay? Till the day that you go, just like the news media started, maybe these guys aren't crazy after all. You know, how many articles have you seen or TV shows or news broadcasts where preppers right all along? Maybe they aren't crazy. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah, okay. Good reason for it. You know, we all know about this mega drought that is happening out west. And some of it is a little over the top, I guess, when they talk about it. You know, there's one that was saying it's the worst mega drought in 1,200 years in, in the western half of the United States. Okay. I have a little hard time believing that because if you go back 1,200 years, that's the year 800 AD. Okay. I don't think there's a whole lot of meteorological records back in 800 AD in a country that didn't even exist, okay? You know, so, you know, maybe they're going off of artifacts they find or something like that, but okay. But we know the drought is bad in California. Now, some of you have seen this. Rudy did a good video here a few days ago about the cattle problems, all right? And just kind of go there. You know, the drought is really, really affecting cattle ranchers in Texas, Oklahoma, et cetera, the whole southern plains, okay? Because you've got pastures that are drying up, okay? No feed. Feed has got extremely expensive. So now what you have is these cattle farmers making a decision to either sell their herd now for a loss while they can still get something for it, or pray for rain and risk losing everything if it doesn't happen. Now, if y'all watch Ryan Hall, which I've suggested before for a decent weather forecast, you know, I guess there is a monsoonal storm coming in that's going to hit Texas, and he was saying dump something like, I think it was 20 inches of rain or whatever on some parts of East Texas, specifically around like the DFW area in the coming week. So yeah, they're going to get a lot of rain. Okay, but rain like that causes floods, not, you know, that then you have washouts. You know, you need one of those good steady rains. Okay. But so you give this, the last 2 weeks of July, which is the most recent time we have figures for, the cattle sale rate jumped 120% over 2021 levels. So what that means, it's, you know, instead of the cattle rancher selling 10 cows, he sold 12. right? Now do that over 1,000. This is going to feed right into all the people who go, gee, look, things are going good. And again, it's one of those things you guarantee Biden's going to come up and take credit for. Beef prices are coming down. Look at the great things I'm doing. Food prices are coming down. Guarantee it. Mark my words, you will see that. Okay? Because there's a glut of cows going to market. So beef prices will come down this year. What happens next year? Now, when you have a lot of these ranchers selling their breeding stock, there ain't as much cattle to basically make beef from. And you can pretty much bet this is the same as going to go for pigs and going to go for chickens and everything like that. All right. So, yes, we're going to see probably a temporary reprieve in some of our meat prices until next year. Why? Because as typical, like I just said, they'll take credit for it. They can't see past here, you know. And then when somebody calls them on it next year going, you said prices were coming down. What happened where they went up even higher than they were before? Obligatory weekly sneeze. Okay. So you get in that, that the average cattle herd is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, right? And again, like I said, this is because of skyrocketing prices on hay and feed, transportation costs, yada, yada, yada. You have some Southwest Oklahoma ranchers that are saying that beef, cheap ground beef, this is exactly what they said, could eventually be $50 a pound. Ground beef, cheap, the 73.27 stuff, okay, $50 a pound. Right. You want to talk about nobody buying beef? I don't know. Is that possibly a plan anywhere? Think about that one. Okay. Let's see if we can do all this. Leonardo DiCaprio was not worried about $50 a pound for his hamburger helper. Not that he eats it anyway. But, yeah, the rest of us, that ain't happening. Okay. But so what's going on a little bit further? And this is where we get into prepping. And again, this is why the seed giveaway that I mentioned yesterday, I think is very important. Y'all have said that you bought, and it happened to me too. Okay. It happened to Danny over at Deep South Homestead. You bought seeds this year and they weren't what you expected, or your germination rate was crap. Okay. Now, could that be chemtrails? Could that be the weather? Could that be water? Could that be soil? Yes. Could it also be the seeds? Yes, definitely. All right. So what are the predictions and what's going on right now what's going on right now? Okay. Anybody seen the stories lately about what's going on in Idaho? Officially the gem state, unofficially the potato state. Gee, there's going to be a potato shortage. Let's talk about a staple food, guys, okay? Irish potato famine, ring a bell to anybody? That's what people lived on, okay? SHTF, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be living on what you have. Then let's talk about tomatoes. There is a worldwide tomato shortage, too. Why? Again, let's go back to the drought out west. Here's a little fact maybe you don't know. 1/4 of all the tomatoes in the world are grown in California. Okay? California's got a little bit of a problem. You want to talk about a staple food? I don't know. Ask the Italians. Ask the Mexicans. Tomatoes are a staple there. Fortunately for me, maybe it's because of my soil, maybe it's because I save my own seeds, maybe it's because I actually tend my garden and make sure I water it with whatever I can and fertilize it however I can. I actually had probably the best tomato crop I've ever had this year. I had a very good potato crop too, based on poundage for what I plant and what I grow. That's going to be really important because, now in the days of commercial farming, right? We all know that the mom and pop farmer is being pushed out so these massive companies can come in and buy a farm. The problem is they're monoculture. They plant one thing, and that's it. I mean, drive through Kansas, 440 miles down the highway from one side to the other. I've mentioned that before. Corn. Corn, 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 corn. Drive through Indiana. Corn and soybeans. That's it. Boom, boom, boom. That's all you see on these things. Why? In good years, they're a good cash crop. In bad years, you ain't making nothing. Okay? But monoculture does not work. You need to have a lot of different things growing because, like I've said many times, you're going to have something fail every year. Something's going to, my pole beans sucked this year. Nothing. Beautiful plants, no beans. Okay. It happens. Fortunately, I had green beans that did great, so I still had beans. But you go through that. This is why it is so important to take care of yourself. The rest of the world, by bad decisions, other people's bad decisions, will affect you. I'll give you another one here. This one you don't hear anywhere. How about cotton farmers? Cotton farmers this year are expected to harvest a little more than 7 million acres. It's a lot of acreage for cotton, right? Except there's 12 million acres of cotton planted. You're talking over 5 million acres of cotton was affected by this drought. What do you think is going to happen to the price of clothing? Now, not that all you and I can go out and plant cotton and, spin our own cotton and everything like that. I'm not saying do that, believe me. Okay. But what I'm saying in respect to that is, how many of you have done this? God knows I have. This doesn't fit anymore. This is stained, whatever it is. It either becomes a rag or it just gets tossed in the trash. You may want to think of taking those, cutting them up, and keeping a box in your preps of fabric swatches. Why? Because that pair of jeans that you have, that you've now ripped a hole in the knee from working so much, you're going to need to repair because you aren't going to be able to get another pair. Okay? That shirt that has a hole in it, you're going to need to repair it, whatever it would be. Go back to the Depression. All right? Last time things got real shitty like this, you had kids wearing clothes made out of potato sacks. Why? Because the good times were going to go on forever, and nobody worried about saving stuff like that. And then when the kids grew a little bit and their clothes didn't fit anymore, what was the option? Gee, I need clothes. This is worn out. This doesn't fit. Let's put the kid in a potato sack. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wear a potato sack. And even though I got fig trees, I ain't planning on wearing a fig leaf either. Okay. This is how bad it is in regards to cotton. It is the worst cotton harvest year, 2022. It's the worst cotton harvest year in the United States since 1868. The Civil War just ended. Okay? That's how bad it is. Guys, preppers, it sucks to be right. All of us. We're doing the right thing. Every time you have a little bit of, am I wasting money? Am I wasting time? Am I ever going to need this? Blah, blah, blah. Besides the peace of mind that you get knowing, hey, there's food in the pantry just in case. The important part is there's food in the pantry. Because for a lot of people who believe the grocery stores are always going to have food in them, they're in for a rude awakening. It sucks to be right. I don't want to be right in this. I'd love that every time I went to the grocery store, I had my choice of food. Every time I went to the clothing store, I had my choice of clothing. That ain't the future. That's not what's planned for us. Remember again, this is partially due to nature and partially due to man. This is how they are trying to control you. $50 a pound for ground beef, like I said, you ain't buying it. But every one of those elites, the AOCs of the world, well, at least she thinks she's an elite, they're still going to be able to get a steak. You're going to be eating gruel unless you do something about it. We'll see y'all tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, for those of you guys who are new to the channel, live stream, Q&A. Talk to you then. Pinball out.